Welcome to the Provoking Prosperity Podcast. This is Miranda Mitchell, your host, and today I'm thrilled to welcome Chris Dyer, a multifaceted artist whose work spans street art and visionary painting. Chris stands out not only for his vibrant and transformative artwork, but also for his unique ability to weave together spiritual narratives with cultural elements from around the world. Through his art, Chris invites viewers into a dialogue between the seen and unseen, exploring themes of authenticity, universality, and the spiritual evolution, a connection to oneness, a connection to all. As we dive in to Chris's creative journey, we discuss his philosophies, we uncover the impact of his work on both a personal and collective level, and we go deep into sharing perspectives on life and the way that we experience life in different ways. I invite you to listen to this a few times. The reason is because within the way that Chris shares and speaks about life and speaks about creativity and art and how he has moved through life in a way that is not conformed by social norms and the way that we are conditioned to believe that we're successful, there are many, many magic moments or gold nuggets that just are placed randomly throughout this podcast. So I invite you to not only listen once, but listen at least twice and take note. Listen and feel into what he is expressing and how he is sharing. This is why I love to bring creatives on this platform. This is why I love to connect with creatives. It opens up our hearts, it opens up our minds, it opens us up to feel and hear and see a different perspective than we have been conditioned to believe, or maybe even how we've experienced life ourselves. We are in a constant evolution. And if we let ourselves love each person for the beauty that they are in their authenticity, think about how beautiful the world would be. Think about how beautiful our relationships would be. Think about the potential of humanity. Do you spend all of your time building and maintaining your business so that you achieve the success you envision? Do you feel frustrated, unfulfilled, and have a loss or disconnect from your creative flow? Are you a conscious leader that is ready for change when it comes to society's views on money, wealth, relationships, and what prosperity truly means? If so, you are in the right place. Welcome to the Provoking Prosperity Podcast. I am your host, Miranda Mitchell. I am a 2-4 Manigen who is here to empower and equip you to step out of the box of social norms, guide you into using your voice for inspiration and impact, and support you in finding what prosperity means for you so that you have the business and life that fulfills you. So grab that cup of coffee, get comfy, and get ready to hear the heartwarming and heart-wrenching personal stories, all things human design and jinkies, plus tangible practices that you can implement right now for your personal and business growth. Hello, beautiful souls. This is Miranda Mitchell with the Provoking Prosperity Podcast. Today, I am on with someone that I'm actually very excited. I know that you just released a book, so I definitely want you to go into that and share that with your art as well. Chris Dyer is here with me, and I would love for you to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about what you bring to the world as far as your genius.
Yeah, I'm Chris. I am presently a human, though I'm more than that. But right now I'm expressing as this 45-year-old human. My role is an artist. I grew up in Peru. I lived in Canada for 25 years. I now just moved to St. Petersburg. I'm a visual artist. I started doing skateboard graphics, but now I'm more on the tip of doing murals with spray paint. But I'm also a fine artist, so I paint canvases with acrylic. I'll be having a solo show in St. Petersburg in August for the wrap up party of Shine Festival, if you guys know that one. In general, I'm a soul on a quest to reconnect with my oversoul or God or creator source, in hopes that crystallization of myself would help others on their path to also going back home, so we can get out of this place that is beautiful but also has lots of struggle and suffering. But in the meantime, we just enjoy the video game.
You mentioned that you've been a creative for a long time, an artist for a long time. How do you feel that has helped you stay connected to yourself rather than getting wrapped up in social norms and expectations of the shoulds that a lot of people get wrapped up in?
How do I stay connected to my artist role? I'm just an artist. That's how I was born, and that's what I have to do instinctually. Eating, I need to express myself. I'm a over communicator, an expressor. If anything, all the things around the art career keep me from actually just doing my art. But I guess everything is being and everything is expressing some degree of art. There's a lot of caps I got to use in order to run my career, which just has me sitting on my computer answering emails all day long. And I'd rather be out painting a canvas, or right now building a skate ramp in my yard with my friends. And tomorrow, Saturday, I'm just gonna do a skate jam and painted a mural right next to it. And I got this book out, so I gotta schedule book launches all over the States and Canada. So that's a lot of work. And then promotion. And I just want to do art. For me, there's no struggle. I just want to art. If it was up to me, that's all I do. But I'm also in the human Babylon system world that you got to pay your bills. And I chose to have this house with this yard and etc. Yeah. And I'm cool with it. Different aspects of the video game are all worthy and have different lessons and grow. I have no struggles doing the art part. I just wish I could do it more.
A lot of artists and even people that are reconnecting to their creativity that have been in, like, I don't know, corporate and all that, really want to start to reconnect and slow down a little bit. It is very hard to do the yes and to be in that passion, to live in that passion, and then be able to afford things and to live and to have the things that you need to survive so that you can continue to be in that passion. So how have you, and this is where the struggle is, because a lot of people get stuck in the making the money and doing all the things, and then they can't reconnect to that. How have you been able to stay within the art and not get wrapped up in the hamster wheel? And if you did get wrapped up in that hamster wheel, how did you reconnect to get back to that art?
I never bought the hamster wheel. I've only had a couple normal person jobs in my life. Growing up in Peru, teenagers don't have normal jobs. Summertime, you go to the beach, you surf, you skateboard, you play Nintendo, and then you go to school. Teenagers shouldn't be working at McDonald's and stuff. People do in North America. Once I moved to Canada at age 17, and all my other friends had normal jobs, and because they weren't getting allowances or whatever, then I got my first job at McDonald's, and I worked at McDonald's for 8 years. And that was an experience that wasn't really pleasurable, but had lessons. And I ended up getting fired for being too rambunctious. Then I did phone jobs where you're annoying people. And then I was like, what the fuck's all this? I don't want to do this stuff. This sucks. That's not me. I got all this power. I'm like this special person that can really do something in my, even when I was negative, I knew I'm not, this is beyond me. Like I can't be just doing this stupid shit, selling my time for people that are just selling more stupid shit. This is not my vibe. So then I just always looked for jobs that made sense. I guess my most non-artistic job that still was like a vibe that I could align with was tree planting. I was a tree planter in the north of Canada for 3 seasons. That's a summer job. So you go to school, and I had a school loan. In Canada is not expensive. Like a semester costs you $500. It's not like the States where they put you to debt for the rest of your life. So that was forgiving. But then on the summers, I would go to north of Canada, live in tents with a bunch of hippies. That's where I got hippie-sized or whatever. Got spiritual. I was always spiritual, but like I was more on the tip of following religion because that's the only option a kid would know. But then in hippie tree planter world, they'd be, hey, here's a Celestine prophecy. This is a different way of looking at that thing that you feel. So that was a way to make a bunch of money while still being in nature and learning lessons and hanging out, smoking weed, whatever I was into at age 20. But then once I finished school, I just went ham on doing art and there was no turning back. But then there's all the business stuff of doing art and you do them. And it's not like I'm like, ooh, I'm making money. And now I just want to sit in my office to make more money. It's okay, I made enough money to pay my bills. Can I go and just play now? Can I go and just paint a back alley with my friends as we skateboard and drink a six pack? And or can I go and travel India for a month now that I've sold enough paintings? What's the reward? More human allocates or pats on the back and what you're supposed to be this and that? Or is the final reward just sitting at the shore of a beach and looking at the sun? So I've opted the second one. But at the same time here, I'm on this planet and the planet is changing and evolving and I'm of duty to be of service to my fellow humans. So my art and my work should be used in a way to be, hopefully, medicine to others or inspiration or energy or reflections or examples or even examples what not to do as to others to stoke their fire on their path. I'm sustained. I could probably not retire, but I want to keep on doing art and sharing it and showing up and doing all this work that sometimes exhausts me because I'm here. Why not? Let's do this. But I also know that I don't have to conquer the world or be the best artist or crush everybody else. I'm trying to stop all that human competitive BS that separates me from the oneness of the community that I'm hoping to unite us to be a gang of servants that helps awaken humanity. Anyways, I just threw a bunch of stuff at you. So
That's beautiful. You said the oneness, and I have a question here. On your journey through your cultures and artistic movements, how do you discern the elements that resonate with your inner voice and your vision of oneness?
what's the difference between my inner voice and my vision of oneness?
And the way that you've grown up through different cultures.
So I guess when it's like my inner voice, it's almost like a combination of things because who is me? And I am just an avatar filter to the consciousness of oneness. But that also came with a particular code that is unique. And that is the personality filter avatar. And that is a fractal of the oneness. So it doesn't stop being the oneness. I just try to be me and know that is also God and not be like, oh, only this idea of some kind of enlightened being, only that is God and everything else is not God. No, everything is God, even me in process or me at my worst, that's also God. That's God being that thing that it wanted to experience through that state of being. There's never not God and there's never not oneness. I'm just trying to be a version that it's closest to the original source idea that I have of God, which is love, expansive, giving, sharing, all the positive attributes, but also honest and authentic, not like fake, oh, I'll be good because I'm supposed to be good. No, I want to be good because it really is something that I have no option. I burned myself by being negative so many times that it's okay. Do you want to keep burning yourself? Just be good. Just be giving. Oh, that person needs help. Help them. Okay, yeah, you gotta give this and that, your time, your money, blah 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 blah. But still, at the end of the day, the lesson is if you give, you'll feel better. I'm okay being me at all versions, but I also try to always be present enough to be the best version of me according to what feels expansive, loving, good, sharing, and forgive myself for when I'm not perfect.
Those areas or those times when you're not perfect, are you able to sit back and recognize when that's happening so that you can observe and move into those triggers?
Yeah, I'm very self-reflective. If anything, I'm too hard on myself because I see the medicine has taught me even more to be that inner observer, be like, ooh, you want that to happen because you'd benefit because of this. You're wishing bad on a fellow, blah, blah, blah. And oh shit, you can see it. Do you want that? Do you really want to wish bad to your fellow artist? Where is that coming from? Oh, it's coming from jealousy. Why are you jealous? Like, why are you feeling you are less than that person and you're wishing them bad so that you're in your lower state, you can come up? Do you see that? Yes. Okay, well, then just shut the fuck up, drop those negative emotions, give that person your like, move on with your life, just shine, and hope that others are not jealous towards you. Because a lot of people are feel negative towards me because I just go out there being happy-go-lucky Chris Dyer. I'm building a mini ramp in my backyard. Some people are really struggling. But what? Am I not to share the stoke of this thing that I wanted to do ever since I was a teenager and I finally get to do it at age 45 and I'm all happy? Or should I hide it so that people don't get triggered because they're just not in their power? At the end of the day, I just gonna be me. Some people hate me because they're got their inner monologue that they're not attentive of. That's their process, got nothing to do with me. I just gotta observe my own process. So when I see somebody else crushing, shining, succeeding, doing an amazing painting, getting an amazing opportunity, I just gotta be like, don't be a bitch. Don't be jealous. Don't wish bad. Celebrate that they're succeeding because they're also you in a different body. Eventually, you'll all be one in the oneness body of everythingness, and you all high find each other, and maybe you'll be able to teleport yourself into that body and see things from their point of view, and you'll be grateful that they had that experience. And so it's all blessings at the end of the day. And right now, I'm just me, and I'm doing my thing and trying my best.
You mentioned that you're just me, Chris Dyer, doing my thing. When I go into your human design chart, you are in the profile lines. It's a 2-4. So I'm going to explain a little bit about that. The 2 represents this type of hermit energy. When you say you need space and time and you digest things and reflect, that's like the hermit. You go and you digest and you reflect, you're aware. You also need alone time. And then the 4 is all about opportunities and connections through the people that you meet. So your personality truly is hermiting away, being by yourself, reflecting, and then going out. And that's all you really need to do. And the people that are triggered are most likely not in alignment with who they are. When you, even though you may not know it, you are. You're digesting and reflecting, and then you're going out and you're not making yourself work 9 to 5. You're not doing all those things. You're just being in the essence of who you are. And the line 2 also is this energy. It's called a dancer. But really what it means is you are here to do the things that are easy for you. A lot of the times we make ourselves learn things that are hard and difficult and make our life hard. But when you have a 2 line in your profile, it's do your gift. And then everything in life is easy. All you need to do is reflect, hermit, and go out and meet people.
Yeah, that's I think a Piscean trait too. And but that doesn't mean that I take the easy road. I'd say I take the hard road many times, though I'm starting to accept that life doesn't have to be full of struggles and I don't have to throw myself in the fire continuously in order to forge a better version of myself. That being said, I also don't want to be a lazy piece of shit that doesn't do any work. There's like a happy medium where I can work. And there's a little bit of tension and struggle and effort. Yeah, I'm not walking on nails neither, which is the shamanic path many times. And I'm going easy on that for now. I haven't really done too much ceremonial plant medicine in a couple years just because I learned what I had to learn from that pit of fire and it was great and it made me a better person and it helped me a bunch of stuff that wasn't necessary. Sometimes you gotta zap them out in uncomfortable ways, but I don't have to live in that state forever. I don't have to be a fire dancer that continuously just struggles, you know. At one point, you gotta get somewhere and be satisfied in it and then share from that energy. Life will have struggles either way. There's no escaping the struggles of being a human being. Those come day to day. Sometimes for no reason at all. You'll just feel shitty and you're like, I'm feeling bad and okay,
Hmm.
it's like the moon, the hormones, astrology, the world, me being affected by everybody else's energy. But today I feel like this, and let's just cruise through it because there's always the next day.
And you do in a human design too, you're an emotional authority. So that means that you have emotional fluctuations. Does that resonate with you? Do you feel the highs and lows of your emotions?
Yeah, I would say so. And it's hard to compare myself to others because I'm not anybody else but myself. So I would think, oh, I feel very deeply, and there's no point of comparison. Like the only way for me to know that if I feel more than anybody else is for me to be somebody else, which I could never be. So I try not to compare to others on that way. I go up and down, and I hope I'm not got some kind of like disorder or manic situation where I go from high to low. But
Well, creatives actually have a lot of emotional authorities. And when I talk to them, it makes sense to them because of the emotional wave. And I've actually helped a lot of people that thought maybe they had something wrong with them when really that is just your energy and how that's your creative energy. So a lot of the times when you're feeling that emotional, kind of like a heaviness or a low, that's where a lot of people get to dive into their creativity and be in their own essence and really create from that heart space rather than thinking something is wrong with them.
yeah,
So
emotions are like waves, and my avatar is a surfboard. So the surfboard feels the waves, but I don't have to like drown in them. I just gotta cruise. And sometimes the feelings are not positive, but I'm cruising and I'm just like, okay, I'll be cool. And if shit gets too uncomfortable, I can go skateboarding, or I can just do some rapé and meditate, or I can read a comic book or do some art. There's way to pass the bad times that are more tolerable. And when stuff is nice, don't take it too seriously neither. Can't hold on to that hype forever. Be grateful, be happy. I always try to be grateful no matter what. But also it's nothing compared to the true bliss of the other side of reality where you are one and everything forever. You're just humaning and it's all good.
yeah, we get so human. We get to feel those feels where a lot of people don't want to feel those feels. They drown them out or push them down or push them away rather than like you riding the wave and then appreciating when you're in that higher state, but knowing it's not going to be forever, not get stuck in the attachment of being there.
Yeah. And I'd be lying if I didn't say some days I just don't want to feel bad. And then I'll drink, or like if I'm not smoking these days for legal purposes, but sometimes smoking weed can be that crutch where like you just don't want bad days. And the weed just gives you like that happy buzz that kind of masks the lows that are part of life that you have to go through. I feel it's very important to be sad and have lows because then you got empathy for others who are going through their hard emotions, who maybe have less tools. And it's important to show up for them and be like, yo, like you're sad, I'm sad too. And look, I got all the things that you think you would want in life, and still I get sad. Everybody gets sad. Everybody goes through lows. So let's just be like nice to each other, or at least not make it worse. Because when people are acting shitty, it's probably because they're low and they're just trying to get energy from somewhere. And so they act shitty, and it's natural that you want to attack or accuse or judge or throw shit at those people who act bad. It makes sense because then in your logical mind, oh, if we attack the bad people, then they'll learn their lessons and they'll stop being bad. But no, they're being bad because they're low. If anything, we got to give them like double compassion. But who's a Jedi who's so in their power that when somebody's being shitty, you give them so much love that they're like, okay, I give up. Okay, it feels better to be good. Okay, I'll stop doing these things because I'm looking for love in the wrong places. We're just a bunch of kids pulling pigtails, and we just got to be aware of it first in ourselves, but then on others. At least I just don't want to attack back. If somebody attacks me at this point, I'm just like, okay, I'm just not going to say anything. Go and attack all you want, be a jerk. I'm not happy, but also I'm not going to make it worse by attacking back.
And it
That's
feeds
my,
that energy. It feeds that negative energy. So let's go back to your art. How does your art serve as a conversation or maybe a piece of between the world of the visible and the invisible, a reality and not reality?
I guess it depends on the piece. I got different paintings and different flavors, and so I guess it depends on the painting because each one has a different topic. But in general, I'm not much of a realistic painter. Be like, look, I can paint this thing that exists in the normal world. Whoa, you can recognize it. I'm like great in my technical ability to do something that a camera could do very easy. Yay. I'm more of, I want to invent something that never existed. I want to play God in my ability to do art. God created things that weren't there before. And if we're reflections of God, I want to do images of things that never existed before. That makes me feel like I am this fractal of the Most High. And I'm bringing something new to humanity and adding to the human culture. And sure, everything builds upon each other. No culture came from nothing. Even I imagine original culture came from nature inspirations or interdimensional voyages where you saw the alien culture and then brought it back and made some pottery or a cave, painting. Like everything builds upon itself. So there's influences, and we use language that already existed, at least in the case of art, is visual languages, arrows or color combinations or a certain way of drawing an eye. But then you're the cook in your kitchen. You're the one putting the ingredient in different amounts and maybe like exaggerating spices or turning it upside down and boiling the pasta at the end and putting the carrots instead of the onions. I don't know, wrong way. And sometimes you might come up with a brand new concoction by the way you go about these things. Art is play, art is creation, art is magic. And then the viewer looks at your painting and it might be totally different from the creator. I like to explain my paintings because they're very personal and they could be misunderstood also sometimes. So, which is fine, but I'm telling my story. So, for example, with my book, there'll be a painting, and right next to it, there'll be, where was I when I did the painting? Oh, I was traveling this country and I was going with this relationship and I was having these realizations. So the painting had to reflect where I was at in that moment. I'm not just doing something because, oh, I got to sell some art and pay my bills. It's no, I got to express my soul right now. So the book is all the paintings as I describe my life. And sometimes it requires to be done in watercolors, sometimes spray paint, sometimes acrylic, sometimes it's an ink drawing. It depends on what the vibe is. And sometimes it has to be a Photoshop collage, or it goes from time to time. And I would hope the viewer would just find a reflection of themselves, maybe an opposite reflection. May that be like, this is so not my vibe. I don't like this. Those colors are too much for me, and I'm more into this. Okay, but then what does that mean to you? Why do you like these colors? Why do you not like or like that? What is the resonance or non-resonance to that? And how are you learning your own three-dimensional avatar in reflection of these inner soul expressions that others are bringing out in a very vulnerable way sometimes? I was like, whoa, that person's showing their fear, their anger, their sadness. Is that okay? Are men supposed to do that? Is that allowed? I guess Chris did it, and he's even making a whole living out of being a normal, flawed, vulnerable human being showing his emotions. Maybe we can all talk about our emotions. Maybe we can all just be comfortable in the process of ups and downs and not have to be so guarded and hidden in our masks and armors so nobody can see this little hurt child we hold inside, because what will happen if the world sees that we're not perfect and so on. So yeah,
The world would
art.
heal if everyone would see that we're not perfect and connect and support and love each other for the imperfections rather than the masks that we wear to pretend
Right.
that we're something. So how do you connect with your creative process? Because I'm actually very excited about this, but now more so even that you told me about how you share what you were going through. I think that's important. Story is important. Connection is important. Understanding at a deeper level what you're feeling and looking at and connecting with you in that way, I feel is very powerful. So I love that you did that for the book. That's amazing. Do you have a process in your creations, or is it just in the moment when it feels and it just comes?
First, I got to find the time, then the space. And those two variables have been changing a lot in my flow of life because I was living in Canada, and then my parents built me an apartment in Peru so I could visit them. So I was between Peru and Canada. Then COVID came and the lockdowns, and I got stuck in Peru for 8 months. Then I finally make it to Montreal, but then they're imposing certain measures that just didn't vibe with me. And then all of a sudden I lose all my rights, and that didn't go with me neither. So then I'm moving to the States, and I have to live in a basement in Denver for a year till I figure out where I want to live in the state. And then I moved to Florida. So it's really hard for me to find time, space, and even budget for me to do these paintings. But sometimes it's just a canvas thrown in my suitcase, and wherever I'm at, I'll do what I gotta do it. But so it changes on each piece. But I know I'm telling my story. This is my second book also. I'm hopefully refining the art of communicating and telling my own personal story that people might care or not. That's if there's an audience for it or not, that's not in my control. I'm just gonna tell it, and there's somebody there for it. Amazing. There are some people for it, luckily, and so I can keep on doing it. How does a painting happen? Sometimes I gotta do jobs, t-shirt graphics, skateboard graphics, event posters, and NFT collections, or murals for different dispensaries, wheat farms, etc. There's paid jobs too in the mix, and that is part of life too. But when I do have my time to do my more canvas work that is self-expressive, how does it come? I don't know. I just got something to say and I figure out how to say it. So I sketch it. Usually it takes me 10 minutes to sketch something that might take me months to do. And that's the true channeling part of the painting. I guess the whole thing to some degree is a channel because I don't know. I don't pre-choose colors. They just come to me and I put it together, and things change as I sculpt this painting. But the initial sketch is, okay, I need to say this. How do we say it? Okay. The hand does its thing. And then I got a direction, a skeleton, a blueprint. And then I spend months getting that looking really nice and polished. And I know how to paint. So it's just like, just going for it and doing it. Manifesting, not giving up when you're month number 3 and you're like, damn, this painting never ends and I want to do the next one. No, be faithful to your painting, finish it off. Then you can get to the next relationship.
Oh, I love that, because I was in your chart, you have the gate 5. And I was wondering how that came about, because the gate 5 is about repetition and consistency. So when you just said that, it was more so staying with that painting, consistent with that painting, finishing that painting. So how
Yeah,
do you think your work and your art challenges traditional?
challenge. There's different ways. First and foremost, psychedelics are only just becoming cool and popular and accepted in the mainstream. I've been doing this for a minute, so for me to come out with a book where I'm saying like, I did ayahuasca all this time and bufo and mushrooms, and if I give my book to my neighbor, which I will probably for Christmas or something, he and his family might be all like, whoa, this guy's some like crazy drug addict, and what the hell is he doing sapping himself with interdimensional electricity and so on. And most people are of that consciousness, frequency, whatever. So right there, coming out and be so open about doing these illegal substances that really shouldn't be, they're medicines, but also we gotta be so respectful. And I understand why there's like walls around it, because kids will just go nuts on it, and that shit will crack your consciousness. You're flipping a coin many times if you're not doing it the right way. But then they're not showing you the right way. They're just saying, don't do it. And then that's that. So that makes it worse, because then you're going into a back alley, and just mixing up the medicine yourself and doing it with like people who haven't really trained properly. And then the results are even worse than if they give you a proper set and setting. Anyways, that's my relationship with the medicine. But even just on the visionary art scene, like when I got or was accepted or arrived to be a visionary artist in the mid 2000s, it was very Alex Gray kind of vibes, chakras and anatomy and realism mixed with spiritual new age concepts. I'm coming in as like a punk rock, skateboard street artist with thick black lines and cartoony stuff. Like cartoony visionary art was not really thing at all. And I'm coming in with like Eastern Canada. It was a very West Coast shanty hippie thing. And I'm coming as a grungy Quebec, you know, just stomping around like this is also spiritual art, and spirituality is not just the, you know, the hat and this and that. Like, I'm gonna be a skater. I'm gonna stay me. I'm gonna stay a skater because there's nothing that's not spiritual. I don't have to put on a spiritual costume. And I don't have to dress up my art in some stereotypical way. I'm gonna keep it me, but hold my personal code of the spiritual process I'm going through. And that actually related to a lot of people that were like, I'm also just a urban person, but I also interested. So it's a nice Venn diagram that people were like waiting for. And I came in through that. And then other artists were like, oh, I also cartoony psychedelia. And now that you've done it, maybe I can do it too. And now there's like a whole branch of visionary art that's super cartoony and wacky and street, and you go to festivals and so many people are spray painting murals now. It's like a whole normal thing now. I'm not gonna say I did it by myself, but at the time I was doing it, I was the only one, and it felt weird, and I always felt the ugly duck of the crew. But it's fine. I want to be different. I don't want to be normal. I don't want to be. I never wanted to live in the West Coast where like it was easy to be like a airy fairy hippie. I wanted to be in the East Coast of Canada where I was the only one serving visionary art mixed with our urban culture, because they're the ones who need it the most. They're the ones who need those bridges. You go to West Coast, there's so many. Being hippies are cool to the point where are you really a hippie or are you just using a costume so you can look cool in your particular bubble? Or are you really feeling this so bad that you will look like the clown of your society because you just can't help but be that weirdo? I'd rather be that, the clown, the weirdo, the freak, because it's good that we're all different and we should all just be ourselves. And if we're all ourselves, then we'll probably all be clown, weird freaks. And we got to let ourselves be. This whole judgment of I'm cool and you're not, that's just different levels of racism and classism and sexism. Like it's even like in the skateboard community. Oh, you use this skateboard and you're cool. You use a longboard and you're in clown shoes. Or if you rollerblading, it's, man, can we all just fucking have fun? Just do you, have fun. Whatever they're doing is none of your business. You don't have to judge it so you can feel better. Let's just all be, and then we're good. But it's natural to be a human and to judge too. We just got to recognize it when it's happening and stomp that bug.
I love that you have this awareness of authenticity. There's a lot of talk of authenticity, and it seems like you've always had that kind of awareness and just not let everyone bring you into their box of conformity, which is probably why you are so successful and why you've actually done those things first, because everyone else was staying in that box. How do you see your approach in your art evolving as you continue on your journey?
How do I see my approach with art as I continue to evolve? I guess at the moment, it's not something that I got pre-planned. It will happen when it happens. I always want to see, okay, what's next? There is certain grooves in my art that are very easy to fall on, like a record that can repeat itself. And I know what works. And sometimes it's good to bring the oldies, goodies to people who are looking. Like if I go to a festival, I'm probably not going to reinvent the wheel and come up with a brand new style that then the followers or fans will be like, why is he doing all these ugly colors in order to experiment here? No, just give us what we like paid you to do here. And that's, you know, it's like a rock band that is already at album 10, but they can still play a couple songs from their first album because that was their classics. But you always want to do the next album and you want to do it different. If not, how boring would it be? I'm always into finding new mediums if possible. I like taking workshops from other artists so I can see how they're doing it. I love hanging out with other artists. I get really inspired by other artists. Like I got this podcast show, Chris Dyer's Creative Friends, where I go to the studio of different artist friends because I'm like a established, respected artist. Other established, respected artists like open up their houses to me, and I get to be like so in the energy of these really kick-ass creators and pick their brain for a couple hours while I film their whole personal space, and then I can share it with my community. But when I'm there, I'm just, oh my God, this is so amazing. I almost feel like shitty in comparisons. Like, I could never do this. Obviously, I could never do this because I'm not them. But part of me wishes I could also express in their own personal beauty. But say it's not like I'm out there to bite somebody, but I'd be like, man, don't you want to play their video games? Like, yeah, I'd love to do that sculpture made out of garbage. Well, do it. And you'll never do it as good as them, but still play that video game and then throw some Chris Dyerisms on it. And then I do that, like I've already at the episode 100 of that show. So I've done that so many times and I'm like, wow, there's so many awesome art video games to play. I just want to play them all, even if I suck at many of them. And sometimes it's more fun to play the video game that you suck at because there's so much more room for growth and exploration and the learning curve than the video game that I conquered already. Is okay, I'll do this thing and it'll look good and I'll succeed. But I beat Mario 3 so many times, it's just not even a thing anymore. So let's continue playing. And I'd say in my book, there's a bunch of, I look at my book and, oh, that painting was amazing. I'm so proud of it. And then the next page is a painting that is not that great, but it's like, yeah, but you were exploring and you had to try that style for 1 week when you're traveling Russian, you're going through your divorce and you didn't want to paint with those colors and you wanted to go opposite and blah, blah, blah. And whatever, it was what it was. And if somebody looks at my art book like, oh, Chris Dyer either rocks or he sucks, well, whatever. That's our external journey. I would hope they'd be like, Chris Dyer's not afraid to suck. Chris Dyer's not afraid to jump in the water and learn how to swim too. And as part of his process, he'll even show us the process. And that's okay because we're all doing that to some degree.
And stepping into the unknown, the uncomfortable, like you said, is how we continue to grow and learn. If you just stayed within what you're comfortable, what you're known for, then you're going to stay there and you won't evolve, you won't grow, you won't learn, you won't try new things. And that's actually even with any creative or even personal growth. If you don't step into the uncomfortable, you're staying stuck. You're not growing. So you're continuing to do that. And I love that you're putting it all out there for everyone to see, even the ones that you're like, that's not really something that I'm really proud of. But you could still connect to someone's heart. That will connect with someone. Someone will love it and feel it.
It has meaning. It has heart, even if it's, say, I'm not a great skateboarder, but I got heart in my skateboarding. So I'm not going to stop doing it, even if I'm not good at it and I have fun with it. So these are almost like artifacts and evidence of fun and exploration and self inner discovery too. I love art. I love everybody else's art, not everybody else's art, but like I like art in general as the idea, as a concept. That's why I got that podcast to put a spotlight on other people that I look up to because I'm not alone in this. I'm very strong in what I do and I'll give my book and this is all me. Even though I'm quite a community person and there's a lot of people involved in all that stuff. The podcast is like all them. I'm just here to pull the threads of these beautiful flowers I found. And I'll use my platform to highlight even some artists that are not popular. Artists who are popular are great because there's a reason why they're popular. They're popular because they're doing something special, so they create a following and attention and etc. So I love to capture those too. But there's some artists that are doing some really special things who are not popular, who just didn't know how to play the video games of algorithms and social media, that I'd be like, I want you guys to check out this person too, because they got something to say. So I love doing that. I think, art and creativity is invaluable in the process of humanity in this renaissance towards a better new earth that we're creating together. And I think people in general are valuing art more and more, but still it's like people rather buy golden watches and purses with certain logos that have a paint that really reflects their innermost special soul beings.
And having a connection with your art and your feeling that you put into that and your love that you put into that. Again, it goes back to the feeling aspect rather than just the material things. It's more of the feeling, the love when you see something, or even the anger, because a lot of people are fearful of anger, but anger is a beautiful emotion to experience as long as you're not hurting anyone. It has to be released. It has to be expressed. So what do you consider your most significant contribution to the art world? And then how do you hope it influences up and coming artists?
I hate to go back to the book because it looks like I'm trying to shill or promote this thing that came out this week. But books for me are like the crystallization of all these things. Because like in the book, I'll have 3 pages describing the podcast. You could go to the podcast on YouTube and you could look at 100 episodes, each one 2 hours long. And that's like a whole fucking branch of my tree. It's a branch of my tree I make no money of. It's all community service. You could see my documentary that I put out in 2011. That's a branch of expression. You can see my first book. You can see my skate work or my murals that I dropped all around the world. You could be traveling Nepal and all of a sudden you bump into a Chris Dyer mural and you're like, oh my God, what the hell is this doing here? He dropped a portal here too. Or my NFT community, the connections I've made with people past the ups and downs of crypto. They feel like they're part of something that means something to them. Or, I don't know, just showing up to a festival and live painting and giving a hug to somebody who's been following you on social media for years. And all of a sudden you're meeting them in person and they're being real and human. That means a lot to a person. I can't be like, oh, that mural's more important than that hug. Because to that person, that hug meant more than the art piece. They might forget what the art piece was about, but they'll never forget the moment that they met their personal artist, role model, or hero. Not to make myself sound too cool, because I'm just another person. But the book condenses it all. In 256 pages, I can put the last 13 years of what I've been up to. And in the previous book, which is also 256 pages hardcover, it's basically from my birth to age 30, going into, my street gang days, my tree planting days, activist days, etc., skateboard graphics. But I didn't even get into shamanism by the end of the first book. It's only at the second book that I really started working with Aya at age 33. So I resisted it for years. I hate doing things because they're trendy. And Aya got trendy in 2010. And I was like, oh, you guys are doing this medicine from the country that I grew up with because it's so cool. It makes you even more awoken and spiritual. Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to just do my art sober. And every I thought I'm all like fucking tripping out on drugs doing this very psychedelic art. And I was like sober for years and years because I'm rebellious like that. But eventually I did try it and I saw, oh, this is just fuck the trends and what other people are doing. This is an ally, an interdimensional friend from before my life who's here to help me become the better servant of humanity. So I started working with her more. So that's just this book. And who knows what the next book will hold. Who knows, there will even be books by the time another 10 or 13 years will go by. But that's how I tell my story. And I just invested my life savings into printing this thing. And it might make no sense because people don't buy books these days and age. And I got to go out on a whole tour just to hopefully recuperate 25% of what I threw into printing it. But for me, it's not about the money. It's more about each one of these people will hold this thing that really condenses what I'm trying to tell people. And the print is really nice and the writing is just exactly. I went over the writing over. And I'm not the smartest person, not the best writer, but I try my best to really verbally convey what I'm trying to tell everybody in each piece. This is the best that I can offer you. And you can have it for $50 and then you can have it for the rest of your life. And when I die, this is what I'm leaving to humanity. And maybe a solar flare will hit humanity and planet Earth and erase all the hard drives and all my web pages and NFTs and videos on YouTube will all go up in dust, but you can still hold this physical analog piece of paper book that will tell my story and hopefully help add to the culture of humanity as we step into, once again, the new age of love and oneness. And I believe we're going to a better chapter in humanity, but we gotta cross this wall of shit. And if it takes bunch of shamanic, uncomfortable separations for everybody else to awaken, and for me to finish my own awakening process, c'est la vie. That's what God put itself through, and I'm up for it. And I'm already trying to unstick and unattach from my current version of life that loves this house and loves this version of reality. But if it all goes to shit in one day, I gotta be chill and keep on flowing, and it ain't shit. And even all my books go get wet, burn, and they all disappear, and nobody ever even remembers that even did art. It doesn't mean anything, because at the end of the day, we'll all meet up in the time before or after there is time and space, and you'll just laugh about it as, hey, we did this thing, it was cool. Remember those 1,000 lives you lived as a million things, and does it all matter? It doesn't really matter, but at the same time, it was amazing and beautiful that we lived it.
That was just so good right there. I was just smiling the entire time. And even if everything was lost, every person and connection that you have with your art, either if they just view your art and haven't even met you, it's still that connection, that feeling. And that's the evolution, because it's actually a connection to yourself, which it's like the reflection of that. I want to thank you so much for being here. I love this conversation. I'm hoping that one day I will be able to meet you. I definitely am going to be looking at your book, and I can't wait to share this.
If you guys are in the St. Pete, Florida area, I'm having the official St. Pete book launch in October at the end of Shine Mural Festival. I'm doing a solo show, so I'm actually going to empty my house from all these paintings that I don't like selling my art, so I collect all of my best paintings. So I share my collection with my city, which it will be like my proper introduction to my city, being like, hey, I'm this guy and I live with you now, and this is what I gotta say. And here's the book too, if you want to take it home or whatever. So that will be in October.
So we have to wait till October for that?
Yeah, or you can just buy the book from my, because the thing is, I'm touring all around the States. I'm going to Oregon and all up and down California, and I'm going to New York in a couple of weeks, and I'm going to I'm like going to be like Detroit and Chicago, Montreal, Toronto. It's going to be like nonstop for me, just showing up. So I wanted to do St. Pete, my own town, without rushing anything. And I actually said, I want to do a solo show with it, because going to a book launch is you're going to see some middle-aged guy sitting at a table with a bunch of books. That sounds hella boring. But to see his paintings on the wall, since I live here, it's easy. I just had to align with my allies here, and the Shine Festival. This city's been really nice to me, especially after being in Denver for a year. I love Denver and my fans there and my artist friends, but I also was like, not very, oh, Chris Dyer's here, let's help him integrate. It was more like, oh, here comes more competition. St. Pete's being the opposite. St. Pete's being like, what? Chris Dyer's here? Awesome. All our doors open, and let's integrate you in what we're doing so we can all empower together. People underestimate Florida. Florida's got a really cool spiritual vibe, and everybody talks shit about it, which is fine to me, because then it stays like a little secret. That sure, you can go and look for the shit everywhere and find it. Like, I'm not saying that Florida doesn't have negative aspects, but there's also really great people and places and nature, and really like Atlantean history if you just look for it. There's something special about this place. There's a consciousness in Florida. There's springs that come out of here. There's so much nature that people underestimate, and I love it here. And actually, the people are really chill. Nobody ever judges me here. I've never felt any competition with anyone here. They're just all, hey, let's all just play together. It's sunny every day. We're happy. Let's just enjoy life. That's what I found here.
You found your place. That's in October. Do you have that on your website?
Yeah, it's not on my webpage because I'm still crafting my long tour things. I'm making all these flyers. I'm a little bit backed up on some homework. But the solo show would be the 19th of October, to be exact. That's
okay.
And it could change still, but that's what they told me. 19th of October, the factory. But just if you look at my Instagram, I'm always like, hey, this is what I'm doing right now.
Okay. Definitely. I'm excited about that. And I'll definitely be sharing it with everybody. I'll let everyone else know where I go in St. Pete and spread that word as well.
Cool.
So I want to say thank you. I'm grateful that you came on. I'm grateful for everything that you shared. Anything else that you want to share with anyone that's listening before we close?
Just wishing everybody the best in this time of transformation. I don't think medicines are for everybody. So I'm not gonna go out there and look for some medicine to have your practice, have your tools. But in general, the message that I keep on getting is learn how to flow and surrender because shit might not go your way, but everything is orchestrated just the right way it has to happen in order for you to become the ultimate best version of yourself. But it doesn't look like that way many times. So we can be bummed out and be like, "Oh, things didn't work out for me and things are going bad." And then we get bummed out about that. And then that really just makes us vibrate at a level of shit's bad. And then more bad things happen. So if I can tell any recommendation to anybody, is just like flow, surrender, accept things as they are, be grateful in it. Oh, things went quote unquote bad. I'm grateful for that too, because ultimately that will take me to where I gotta go, and where I gotta go is a better place because it's one step closer to God, source, oneness, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. And at the end of the day, we're all just gonna go back home and high five each other and be all like, "Yeah, we did it. We humaned for a trillion billion years, and I miss it." I just want to be like, you know, bummed out, looking at my all the blessings around me, yet still focused on the little bad part of it, and not realizing how what a blessing life was. So, we're alive. We're alive right now. This is awesome. If you're not listening to this, it means you're dead. So you're not alive. So, but if you're listening to this, it means you're alive. So that's a blessing. That's awesome. Give thanks and make the most out of it.
I am so grateful for this connection. You made me laugh. You made my Friday, my weekend, just like beautiful. So I am so grateful you're here. I'm excited that you're here in St. Pete. I can't wait to connect and meet you and see your art. And just thank you for everything that you do and all the beauty that you bring to everybody within who you are through your authenticity and your sharing. So grateful for you. So thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for what you do too in your own life.
Thank you. And thank you, everybody. I hope you took away something. All the information is in the show notes, so take a look at that. Hopefully you'll be able to go see him at one of his book signings or buy his book or go visit murals, whatever it is that you want to do. So grateful. I love you all. Till next time.
Blessings.
My hope is that you walked away with something today that has opened your mind, your heart, or both. Listening to new perspectives not only help you grow and expand, but it helps humanity as a whole. So if you have someone that you feel would benefit from this podcast and you feel that you want to share, please do. Also, would love to connect with you on Instagram. So please follow me at Miranda J. Mitchell. One last thing, if this episode left you with any ahas and insights, take 30 seconds of your time and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. This is the only way I know you are loving the content and connection in this space. And if you want to know more or wondering how we can work together, please go to miranda-mitchell.com, click on the contact in the menu and send me a message. Sending you all love. Till next time.